Hey, Thomas, welcome back in 2024 now. We are already in 2024. How are you today?
Yeah, Happy New Year, Dharam. So I'm excited to restart our series, and I'm quite fine. It's pretty cold in Germany. We had some traffic jams because of snow and ice this week, but now it's getting better. And if you go outside over the day, now it's sunny. So as you expected from these nice pictures, a snowy landscape, and the dog is liking it, and so on. Yeah.
Great, great. And we were fortunate to have some snow in Dallas as well on one day. I think a couple of days ago, 3 days ago, when we woke up in the morning, we see white everywhere, which is very rare to see. So we had holiday, in our home. So basically, went out and played with walk on the snow, but yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
It's a chilly. Dallas is still chilly, but yeah, it's getting better. All right. Good to see you again and very happy. I think we have done more than 60 plus podcast.
Yeah, I think it was number 60 was just published a week ago or so, and I
Yeah.
forwarded it to my communities. And yeah, pretty much if you look in, we started with Corona, and though this is over, thankfully, so we still continue. So there must be some merit for both of us.
Exactly. And I'm sure people watching these webinars and the podcasts are enjoying. We getting feedback out of feedback. And guys, please watch and please provide your comments and connect with me on. And Thomas, I'm sure you will get something better out of from us.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
all right, great. So let me talk about today's topic. This is about, confusion around project and program. So topic is demystifying the myths between project and program. So, and the PMI has done a good job by defining them separately. Projects was, it was, most of the projects or the work was done as a project. Now we can see a lot of discussion around
Yeah.
programs is happening now. What do you
Yeah.
think about it?
Well, yeah, I was on the team that developed the first program management standard, and I was a PMP at that time. It was, I don't know, 2004 or 2003, and it was interesting. So to see how we brought together a lot of volunteers from all over the world, especially from the UK,
Mhm.
to bring in the concept. What is the difference between a program and a project? And I must say, it's one of the questions we will touch later is that there are different views in different industries, and so this is also the roots of that. And still today, it is sometimes really interesting to see that people don't understand the difference. So is a program just a big project, is a mega project, like Olympics, is that a program or a project, as a state?
Yep.
Or some other myths, like, do one of the key features of the program is that the program is not really delivering a product, but it's delivering benefits,
Mm.
And so benefits come out of the usage of that product that is
Yep.
delivered by some project. And then now people are saying, yeah, but we expect benefits out of projects. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice thing. That could be that a project will deliver benefits by itself, but it's, in my view, the exception, because and I saw that in many times working as a project manager for IBM clients, IBM clients were very reluctant to share with IBM and with me their real uh, benefits they were expecting. They said, I want you to deliver that, let's say, SAP implementation. And we will do the rest, in our company. And you are not supposed to know what we want to do, like people reduction, like process changes all over the place in all countries and so on. So this was a company secret, and this was normally not shared with the contractor.
Yeah.
So what we did, we delivered our deliverables, our products, and then eventually, yes, there was benefit coming out of it. But this was a project that was not under our
Yeah.
responsibility or even so much in our knowledge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like, and as you clearly mentioned, there are so many misconceptions around the project and program, whether a larger project is considered to be program, or if it is a small program, it should be called project. So, as PMI has defined, the program is when we managing multiple interdependent components, and that's
Yeah,
multiple interdependent projects or component of a program, the sub-programs, we call this as and they are delivering the benefit which are not available when you're managing them individually. That's what
exactly.
definition of program.
Well, they might be available, but there is nobody really in charge of achieving them.
Yeah.
So to give you another example, in that SAP rollouts, there I managed a pool of several rollouts. You could say, okay, these were independent projects in different countries, but then I managed also the data center where all these SAP instances were running. So, in the data center people within IBM were one division, and the SAP consultants were another division. So they didn't talk to each other. They were enemies actually within IBM. Unluckily, the client saw that very, very openly. How these two IBM guys are fighting, and what was missing was the integration on a common target. This is,
Yeah.
make that client happy. You know.
Okay.
And that's what I did as a program manager. We had very good project managers for all these both tasks, but really they missed the fact that they have to integrate.
Yeah, and that's where we need a program manager who can see the full picture together, integrate everything, and demonstrate the overall holistic view to the stakeholders.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first question is, how do defining the roles, deliverables, and dependencies between project program enhance organization efficiency and success?
Well, if why do you define roles and adapt roles to other circumstances? It's because you have some specialists in this area, that area, and you need them, and then you better assign the roles with their responsibilities and what they should achieve and what they can decide or not, because it's much better that you have these people assigned to the roles, and then others know what they are expected to deliver, and then they can challenge them or ask them or whatever. It's much clearer for everybody on a larger team if you have roles defined. And I would say a larger team, it can start with 5 or 6 people when you don't have everybody doing everything, but when you really set up a structure and you define roles and make them work on specific things, it's like in a big kitchen. The chef is a boss, and then he has somebody who takes care about washing the dishes. Somebody does the beef barbecue, somebody does the vegetables, and so on. So different roles in the kitchen are necessary to make it running smoothly, to have some, as you say, efficiency and success in it. When everybody can do everything, maybe they can, but in that particular program or project, they need to understand what their role is. And maybe you have somebody in one project who is the big architect, and in the other project, it's only a tester. Maybe, the
Yep.
roles change with the task, with the project, with the program, while your capabilities might be wide, and you could take different roles in different programs.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfectly right. The roles are clearly defined. Everybody understands what to do, what not to do, as per the role of delegation. And between the program and project, yes, there are certain skills required for managing a project, because that's like a deliverable. And the program has certain skills, which is you can always argue, hey, that a program manager can also do in the project. Project manager can also be the program manager. Yes, but there are certain different skills. When I talk to my student, I give them example, and when you go to a musical concert, there are several musicians playing the musical instruments.
Yeah.
Like they are individually, they can play great music. They have their own instrument. They can do the script, their script. But now because they're playing in a together with other musicians, we need a coordinator. We need a program manager who can coordinate with all these musicians together. That's
Yeah.
where we see a person like conductors standing in front of them with stick in the hand, going up and down. Of course, there's some sign language. They're telling them to slow down or do something. Basically, this person is coordinating, and that's what the role of a program manager. And both of
Yeah.
them have their own skills. They have some expertise.
But yeah, that's true. But it's not only the drum beat, that everybody follows the same rhythm. Let's
Yeah,
say. So I found, what is the two things are very important for a program manager to provide. The first thing is integration. Maybe you have 10 projects and maybe other stuff on the program, and you have to integrate it.
yeah,
Integrate means that you have interfaces,
yeah,
dependencies between these projects. So integration means managing the dependencies and solving conflicts,
yeah,
because maybe there is one big resource needed by two projects, and then they have a dispute who should get him next week, and then you come in and you find out the best solution together with them, and in the end you are deciding. That's integration. But also integration, if you have an overall schedule and you want to build something, and so somebody has to deliver something in time so that the others can build on that. That's
yep,
also timely schedule dependency, resource dependency. There are a lot of dependencies you could think about. The second thing, um, besides of integration, is one voice to the customer.
yeah,
All the reporting, all these different, let's say, terms you use on a program, they must be the same for the whole program. So the program to the outer world has one face,
yep,
and the face normally is a program manager,
exactly.
and not the individual project manager. But the program manager, having a vast team, though in that case I had 120 people, I cannot know all the details and all the specifics that I have my specialists for. So I have to rely on a lot of talks and building trust and making sure the customer understands that I'm not the specialist for everything, but I will make sure our team delivers.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, you rightly said. The program manager may not have a full understanding of what's happening, but they have a team who understand the technology, who understand various things within the program, so they can help you in
Yeah,
managing the program. Yeah,
yeah, right, right.
good. Good. Thank you. My next question is: are there industry-specific myths or challenges related to a project program, and how can they be addressed?
Yeah, uh, absolutely, yes. So there are uh, programs in different industries, and even different industries define the term program. So I know the Department of Defense in the US, they still have program managers, and PMI even created with Congress some laws about what is a program manager, and this is basically for the Department of Defense, if you want so. Other industries even within the government could use it. I'm not sure if they do it, but that's one specific. So they define it very specific. What is a program? What's a program manager from the defense industry? But if you look, let's say, in other defense industries in other countries, that might be a little bit different. The UK defines it a little different. But then you have a big chunk like construction,
Yeah, yeah.
in and in construction, if you do a program, they don't call it program. They have an engagement with a lot of contractors. Let's say they build something in Saudi Arabia, a highway there, and they have 50 contractors and projects, and then it's much more important how they define it very specifically on the environment, and they have a lot of contracting and controlling, and it's very cost relevant, while in the Department of Defense, there is something some laws and some committees in the Congress who get some reports that's specifically for them. In construction in Saudi Arabia, it might be totally different what they're doing in that program. It's a program, they might not even call it a program, but they have a building site to build that highway there. And the same, what you see in the UK, they had this big railway thing, they called it program, and they invested a lot of money. So in Germany, example construction, you had this disaster project. They called it project, but it was a program with Berlin Airport, which costs a lot more and also took a lot more. And for one of the reasons was certainly the governance model they took. Actually they didn't have a program manager. The program manager was replaced by the steering committee, and the steering committee was built together from three different governments agencies. So they came together. They had no clue about how to integrate. They had no clue how to provide one voice to the public. So they failed miserably because of that governance failure. And then
Yeah.
you go on, agile, and IT. You're building software, and then you have maybe parts that are agile, parts that are not agile, and then integrated as a different thing, because the integration is not so much on deliverables, but on ways of working, on understanding, on a lot of other things. Pharmaceutical industry, they call it program, and a duration of 20 to 30 years.
Oh.
Because when they start, they have some research going on and they develop something, and they don't stop with a product that's ready, because they have to go on and supervise the product and sell it, and then maybe the product has a lifeline, delivered to customers, to clients, maybe for 20 years. So 10 to 15 years development, and the rest it's huge. And what's even more grand, with although a program, is nuclear industry. So if you a nuclear power plant, the building and the running, maybe it runs for 40 years or so, but then the fun starts. If you decommission it, and if you wanna really break it down, and where to store the waste, the waste will be there for 10,000 years maybe. And so in my local group, in the chapter, we have a lady who was a lifetime program manager for nuclear waste. So she was at Chernobyl in Japan, Fukushima, and in a lot of places. And she says the major thing a program manager in nuclear waste has to deal with is knowledge management. How to preserve the knowledge about what are the components how's it called? Um, which are dangerous for future people, and how do you make sure that information is not on a floppy disk,
Yep.
accessible in 100 years, So these are the things they are thinking about. And also, if you have a program and a project, and you have people in there, 50 years is maybe a lifetime work, but then the people go away. So they have to train new successors, and they have to understand what's going on. So you see, the question was, are there industry-specific challenges? Oh, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. But it nevertheless, what all the programs have in common is, we want to have a benefit out of it. We have a lot of stakeholders.
Yeah.
And we have to deal with a floating environment, So there is no one real target, but there are maybe some principles and some overall ideas where to go, but it's all driven by the benefits.
Okay. How can technology and digital tools streamline project program management, reducing the likelihood of misunderstanding?
Well, first, and it's in the question, misunderstandings. People misunderstand each other. The one thing said and the
Yeah.
other does that. So it's about communication, clarification of communication, and the
Mm.
communication. There are so many tools, and they are developing, even AI, so that you now have a way to go into an email and it's automatically translated to your language,
Yep.
or you have a Zoom meeting and you get a transcript, or even a summary, and soon you will have some Zoom and all of that. Now what we are doing is 2D, we see our video images, but it will soon be 3D, that you may have an avatar and it's maybe include other senses so that I can smell what you are smoking or whatever, over the screen. So this will develop tremendously in the tools, and we can expect something. It has to do with AI, but it's not all AI. It's also, if you have a scent detector on your laptop, that's also something that will that will
Mm.
change how people use these devices, in all aspects. And then the second thing related to that is, communication is mostly, one-to-one, and then maybe you have a protocol, whatever, yes. But how to organize that knowledge that is transferred in these meetings, So knowledge management, to have one
Yeah.
source of truth, that is very important. It will become, and there are not many good knowledge management tools in the market now, And ChatGPT, actually, you can ask them anything, they will give you anything. Do you trust them? I don't know. Yeah. And
Mm.
so if you have, let's say, like in the nuclear industry, we have the need to have trustworthy information stored for decades or hundreds of years. You better think about something, that is enabling that. And yeah, then you have a lot of in industries, talking about that, you have platforms, like in construction. I'm really amazed about the BIM platform,
Mm.
building information modeling, and it if it's fully deployed, it replaces any project management tool, because it's not only having a three-dimensional view on the object you are building, if it's a house, a bridge, or whatever, but you also have the schedule information, the cost information, contracts, and so on. Even later on, the decommissioning,
Yeah.
how sustainable and how can we implement this cyclic uh, uh, re reworking of the results. So these platforms, and BIM is just for me the most thought through concept right now, but there will be other platforms in other industries. And I'm a little bit disappointed that IT is not really on the forefront of that, but others will follow. And military certainly has also a platform that they don't share with the public, but that they think is a benefit, an advantage in the competition.
Yeah. I mean, there are a number of tools, as you mentioned, and more coming up. And I have been talking about this platform, which I am also the contributor, VXDCC, where we talk about the single platform where all the information in one place, and it's real-time information, and or connect. It has all the required modules within that. So that's
Yeah.
where, having this kind of platform, your program manager is in control of all the information, where the project manager is putting the information about the project. The program manager can press the button, get the required reports, analytics, and many things can be done. And
Yeah, analytics is a point, So
yeah,
if that platform information is, let's say, confidential information for your organization,
yep,
it's not disclosed to the public, but still you can use AI tools to analyze and
and
and and to extract the data from it. Yes.
yep,
So I think most of us know the from Microsoft MS Teams, which is a core of such a platform. It's not perfect. It's not really
yep,
uh, ready for everything, because it's also a thing, BIM is a very industry specific thing, and maybe others, yeah, have to catch up. Or maybe the tool you are working with,
VXDCC, yeah. So that's
is
not
also
industry
something.
specific. That can be applied to any industry. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Okay. How can a comprehensive integration of methodologies, and performance metrics dispel myths, ensuring seamless synergy between project and program for organizations' efficiency?
yeah, I would say two aspects to that. There's certainly a lot of things to say about it. So one aspect is take the concept of hybrid.
Yeah.
That's exactly you have hybrid not only in the context of agile and waterfall, but you also have hybrid in anything. Hybrid means you have two species and they have somehow merge and then you have something new. And it's not important that these two species or waterfall and agile, they are contradicting each other, but it's hybrid means you integrate a multitude of ways of working, of methodologies or metrics, So and certainly it's not that you just stack them on top of each other and then it's working. No, has to be a balanced approach, So how to integrate things into a hybrid concept? So you have certainly to understand that there might be different cultures in these different concepts. So we have to talk about what is the common culture, what is the least denominator of the whole thing, or if there are contradictions, you have to make up conclusions how to deal with which situations. So it's mostly situation driven, and then you have different ways of working, and you have, I think, what is really beneficial if you have program management, because program management in itself is integration of different
Oh, yes.
things, and
Yeah.
program management can really help you to create this hybrid way of working, hybrid culture. So you do that in an IT project, IT program, because if you may have Scrum teams, but you also have infrastructure teams and you have other teams working in different ways. And if they are good at what they do, they have different mindsets, in their way of working. And as a program manager, you have to make sure that these mindsets don't clash, but they work together. You have to impose maybe an mindset on top of that, that they understand what it is. And it could be as simple as, and there are some books now talking about project management principles, program management principles, and then you could use these principles on top of the mindsets of the delivery teams you have in the IT program, for instance. So there are ways for that. I just read a book um, by Ralph Müller and others, and they try to define principles for projects, for programs, for government, and so on. It's a very interesting book because you can take it as a textbook and okay, these are I don't know, 8 principles for projects. And these are not the principles that you find in the PMBOK guide. These are not the principles you find in the IPMA's standards, but
Mhm.
they took all of that as input and they said this is the condensed version, what we think is able to be implemented. And well, the other thing I said, hybrid. So get a grip on hybrid, get a grip on integration, all these cultures and the ways of working. And the second thing is, make sure you have an open and flexible culture,
Yeah.
embrace change. And I'm happy to have worked for IBM for more than 3 decades. And what I found in the aftermath, I think IBM did it right in that they changed their culture or their organization every year. So as an employee, you were astonished what they are coming up with, and you don't understand why it is, but they change every year. But what it achieved is that you are that you are never really in a mood of saying, okay, I work in the same company for 10 years, because the company changed every year, and you
Yeah.
had to adapt to that, embrace change, and have a mood of that. And also the second thing here by open culture is exploit plurality. So it goes beyond diversity, Um, so if diversity has different impacts. I'm talking about diversity as an enabler of capabilities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some talk about diversity as an ethical principle to have equity and inclusion.
Yeah.
No, that's not my topic here. My topic here is, and that's why I'm calling it plurality. That you say, okay, I build a team, and I know I need different people, and then I consciously select the people who are make the most diverse team out of it, that I still can manage, and that is embracing and exploiting plurality. So that's also in the open culture, because then, you have always people who are outliers and who are strange to the others, and everybody has to accommodate to that and to accept and respect it. So it creates respect. Uh, yeah, that's and you have to use training and maybe case studies
Yeah.
to implement that. So training is one thing that you say, formally we do this and that in the culture, but then you also have to show them how it worked in your organization,
Yeah.
and people come up with their experience. So that's how we learn by storytelling. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Great stuff. Thank you. Thank you. I'm moving to the next question. How does the mindset of a program manager differ from that of a project manager?
Oh, how many?
Particularly in engaging stakeholders for sustained organizational value.
Yeah. How much time do we have? That's a good question, and I think if people think about that question, and really try to understand it, that's very valuable. So I think project manager, program manager, and I have a presentation on LinkedIn which is called "There are two different animals," and I explain what characteristics are there. And one of the most important things is the project manager looks inside. It tries to control and to plan and to deliver and to have control about the people and the scope and what's happening. While the program manager looks more outside.
Holistic.
Because a program is longer, so the environment will change inevitably. Strategy will change. Stakeholders will change. So if you don't look outside and not try to control the change, but to understand what's going on there, you are lost.
Yeah.
And then looking outside also means you are delivering benefits, and benefits is always depending on the of the perspective of these stakeholders. So benefits might change over time too, and you have to have a grasp there. So that is for me the main differentiator: inside view, outside view.
Yeah.
And then for sure you can say a project has scope, time, cost, and a program has benefits, stakeholders, and strategy.
Mm.
And you can say, okay, a project is planning, controlling, and delivering, and a program is trying to understand the
Yeah.
environment, the context, create benefits, and achieve in the end successful satisfaction of the stakeholders. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I wrote a paper in 2002 or whatever, and when I attended the PMI conference in Den Haag, and then there was some guy, Pellegrinelli, who exactly talked about that point. What are the differences between the mindsets of program manager and project managers? And he even added, not only these two, but also the CEO of an
Mm.
organization
Yep.
and the manager of project managers. And well, he found out that the program manager has the most capabilities to create success, more than a CEO.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is, project manager, yes, as you said, correctly said, inward thinking, get the product, how can I get my product or work done? And very, very focused and keeping an eye on the changes, try to keep add any avoid the changes as we talked about. And program manager, yep, what's happening, holistic view. And if organization changing, well, will this change the overall program? Will I get the benefit? Okay, if I'm not getting benefit, what I'm doing? Let's stop strategic thinking. So
Yep.
program managers think from strategic point of view. And and coming to the engaging stakeholders, just in the sustained organization, making sure, project manager deliver the work, but program manager has to see the work is delivered, benefits are transition to the operations area. They are ready to accept the new product or service. The people in that organization, the mindset is changed. We look from the organization change management point of view as well.
Yeah.
Right. How do projects and program managers use project management software to balance scope, time, and cost constraints?
Yeah. So if we talk about scope and time and cost, that's mostly the task of a project manager.
Yeah.
And they need to have the traditional tools for that, at least. And I think the most used tools for um, uh, balancing scope, time, and cost is Excel, and then it's MS Project, and I'm not saying these tools are good or best, but it's Excel is at least helping you to look at a lot of components. Now, what can compare it in your columns, what you need to know, and for a program manager, a little bit more difficult. So maybe they have a cost view on if they have the program budget, they all have to track that. But it's not the major thing to track the budget of the program. The major thing is really the benefits again.
Yeah.
And so there is a construct like a benefits matrix or benefits register, and you have to see that there might be a tool around that, and there are some who are doing that.
Yeah.
And what you also need, as I said, the program manager needs to do that integration part of the projects. So there is something, some tools like dependency matrices that you understand, at least visualize these dependencies and make sure people understand them. Because dependencies, if they are only in your head, on your desk as a program manager, that's bullshit,
Yeah.
You need really to bring it out and to show everybody what are the dependencies. And then conflicts will come up.
Yeah.
And wonderful, you sit together with these guys and you have a good solution, So, and both project manager and program manager need a third component as tools, project manager, these traditional program managers, as benefits and integration related, and both of them need communication tools, and also knowledge management, that they understand that they create knowledge besides their benefits or their product, and this knowledge needs to be preserved.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, thank you for sharing, and it's very valid. Yeah. So project manager mostly focus on scope and within time, cost, and as you rightly said, and they're soft. There are so many softwares available for managing that. And Excel spreadsheet, yes. I don't. For small projects, yes, or one project, you can live with an Excel spreadsheet. And whereas program manager, as you rightly said, this is all these are all still valid. You still have to focus on our cost and time, but main focus is on the benefits and how do I deliver the benefit. So
Right.
there are certain tools available, and we talked about this VXDCC. It can track the benefits and deliver realization of benefits, sustainment of benefit, and it also talks about the stakeholder engagement and how to are we doing the engagement as well. and risk profile of each component and taking decisions on it. So look, you have to think from, and a program manager is looking not just scope, time, and cost, the benefit management, stakeholder engagement, governance, strategic alignment, and many other things.
Yeah.
So how can one identify and analyze the interdependencies among the projects within the program? And what significance do these interconnections hold for successful execution?
Yeah, we discussed already about the dependency matrix, when you have all your components and, these components might have some interdependencies. And these interdependencies might come from the resources, the skills, capabilities. So if one project has the best testers, and there comes a time when another project needs good testers but doesn't have them, though they should be able to exchange, to switch people from one project to the other, but they won't do it because then one project might say, I own these resources, I need them, I planned with them, now what should I do? So there is a role of the program manager as a moderator between these two projects. And even if there are more projects, not only two, maybe it becomes complicated. So I saw that in a customer I'm running a PMO for, they had a weekly meeting of 1 hour with 10 teams,
Mhm.
and they discussed the dependencies, and they had a big matrix on a wall, and then they put yellow sticky pads, with the requests from one to the other and dependencies. So these guys, at least they sat together once a week, and they could understand what the overall picture is and what's
Yeah.
coming next week, and they understood what others expect from them, and they could also say, okay, I have a problem with that, and then a problem solution process would involve two of them and the program manager. Doesn't have to be the whole team. So this is. And then you have technical dependencies. Like if you are in construction building a house, the guys building the roof, they are dependent on the rest of the house already standing. So this is just a sequence you have from a construction process. And it might be the same in software, also have a construction process. And then you have external dependencies, that's also not to be forgotten. So we talked about internals now, that we have the team, but then
Yeah.
you have external. And I think a good tool to get a grip of that is PESTLE. So, when you look at
That's true.
political, environmental, economic, and other components, so the customer might post dependencies because they have a certain deadline or the change or whatever. Contractors and the legal and regulatory environment, these are typical things I came across with external dependencies in my projects and programs.
Yeah. Yeah. So from the program point of view, managing interdependency is very, very important, and identifying those interdependencies, internal, external, tracking that, maybe on the roadmap, you have a roadmap, and you can see here we have interdependency within the project and also within coming from external dependencies and something like that. So
Yep.
yeah, roadmap can be one they can use or people can use to manage the interdependencies and see how things are working or not working. So how do program and project managers effectively manage risk to influence the success of individual projects and overall program, ensuring comprehensive mitigation strategies?
Yeah. Well, overall, I think, the success of the overall program dominates the success of the projects.
Mm.
So hence the program risks are, for me, more important than the project risks. Both, I think, should follow the same steps which we know from the PMBOK guide or other publications, identification, analysis, and so on, mitigation, control. But with a different focus on the scope of responsibility. As a program manager, if a project manager escalates the risk to me and it's in his responsibility and in his let's say technical accountability, I reject that as a program risk. So he has to go back and to do that. On the other hand, the program has specific risks by itself. It
Mm.
comes from the integration. Program manager sees there is an integration risk, a dependency risks, or external dependencies from the stakeholders that we don't reach a benefit or whatever. These are things which are not so important for project managers. Well, they will be affected in the end, but this is clearly in the responsibility of the program manager. And then beyond that, the program is part of an organization, of a
Mhm.
company, and they also have a risk register and risk management. So I think there are at least three levels of risks, and it depends on the scope, yeah, and the responsibility, how the roles are defined, and then there should be a escalation path among these three levels of risk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So look, yeah, you have three levels, and there are some of them tactical risk, and some at the strategic risk, organizational risk. So different level of risk we have to understand, and they have their own mitigation strategies.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we can talk about accepting or have mitigation, transfer the risk, and many things we can do with them. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So moving on to my next question. This is the last question. Explain the level of involvement project managers have in resource sharing compared to program managers.
Well, the answer of most questions in project management is it depends. It's not 42, but it depends.
Yeah.
Really, it depends on the program, on the industry, on
Yeah.
the yeah setting up of the whole thing, which responsibilities are there. So what you have to look is with resource sharing. So who is the resource owner?
Yeah.
Because the resource owner is a guy in the organization that might be the one providing the resources. And so the resource owner is a very important stakeholder for projects and for programs. So that is uh, uh, maybe to consider by both as a stakeholder with stakeholder engagement, understand that. And the usage, one thing is if I have a project, maybe I try to hide my resources a little bit and try to protect them because I have a plan and a schedule, but I know things go wrong, and then I need these guys, and then
Yeah.
better they sit idle on something. Yeah, I find a task for them to do, and then they are, when I need them, they are here. Yeah? But this would be detrimental for a program. It's detrimental for the cost benefit anyhow,
Yeah.
but for a program. So as a program manager, you have to ensure and you have to demand that there is a high transparency, visibility of resource usage and needs, and there have to be rules, maybe predefined processes, how to deal with resource constraints,
Yeah.
resource conflicts, and the overarching principle is the program trumps the project, you know, and but you have to avoid that good project managers are good in hiding what they are doing. So, and another aspect in programs, what I found interesting is the identification of bottlenecks, bottleneck resources.
Yes. Very important.
Yeah. Because if you have delays or some problems in the quality, often it comes down to one, two, three resources that are rare, that are maybe kept by one project and not released, And one way of doing that is really to look at to identify these one, two, three people, resources, and then manage them as separate components of the program, and you assign them. So I did that, for example, with a program architect, and then so he was in charge of the whole architecture of the program integration. So, but he also was responsible for helping the project in their specific architecture for their individual products. So, architect is a typical example with a rare resource. We also had technical resources that were rare, and yeah, then maybe the best way, well, how I did it, I assigned this technical resource to one project, and say this project now is in problems, and they get this resource from the program, and they get it 100%. So because if you have such a specialist, and he can be used by every project, then and he has a lot of friends and knows people, so he will make his time slice down, and he will have to jump tasks and projects, and you have to avoid that. You have to really, in sometimes, look at these bottleneck resources and say, okay, now you are 3 weeks 100% in that project, and you don't answer another email, and you do that, because it's for the benefit for the program if we solve that project problem now,
Yeah,
and after that maybe we go into another mode.
perfect. Good. So look, there's, project manager, they focus on their resources, of course. They wanted to protect their resources. And program manager responsibility to ensure that, hey, whatever limited resources I have, I'm utilizing them in the most effective way, most efficiently. So
Yeah,
they have to worry about the interdependency among the various project resources, and
yeah,
prioritization of the resources, optimization of the resources, resource leveling, and many other things.
yeah,
Where, of course, you need support from the project managers, but of course, they have to give them right information. Utilization reports are there, how much is utilization happening, and what else they need in the coming days. So that clarity should be should be there. And of
yeah,
course, if you live on an Excel spreadsheet, I'm sure you know the nightmares. Projects, that information sharing happen, and it's a static information. You cannot make a lot of decisions based on that. And that's where you need now having a automated and very sophisticated tool, especially when you're talking like a bigger programs or projects with multiple projects. Right, good. This is it for today. I think there are a few things we can talk about. If you are into the project management, you should consider having PMP if you don't have already, because PMP is the hygiene you must have to get into the job market or go to the next level. So if you are considering, do the PMP as soon as possible. And if you are interested in going into the program level or already program manager, the PGMPs are, number of PGMPs are growing very fast. And as of now,
yeah,
5,500 PGMP around the world. I know its number is still low compared to PMP, but the numbers are growing very fast.
yeah,
And you don't want to be left out. So get your PGMP done as soon as possible, and
yeah.
part of the big revolution.
And Dharam, before the meeting, you told me that there's a tremendous growth in China in PGMPs.
Hmm. Yeah, actually, if we look at 5,500 PGMPs, so around 1,400 you can easily see in America, which is, kind of growing, but not as fast as China. I have been watching China's PGMP. Recently, I saw it's more than 1,050 PGMP. And last time I saw it, probably 5 months ago, it was around 500. So they are growing very fast.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
uh,
Good.
be part of that and learn the best practices, not just for having a sake of certificate. Learn the best practices and apply the knowledge in your day-to-day programs and projects.
Yeah. Well, regarding PMPs, China overtook the US, I think,
I'm
and there's
sure.
now one third of all PMPs is from China. So they are training their people like crazy, and they are hard learners.
They are, and these look. There are these skills. These certificates are growing very fast in China, India, Middle East, especially Saudi Arabia. You can look at the numbers how the pgmp, pfmp, pmps are growing. So there's a big demand coming, and if you apply for a US government roles, you have to have pmp, you have to have pgmp now, and so you don't want to left out because you don't have some certificate. And believe it or not, these are not that difficult. When people talk about, hey, pgmp difficult exam, but not as difficult as thinking. If Thomas can do and I can do, anybody can do.
True.
Yeah. Anyway, great talking to you, Thomas. It was so, lot to learn from you. So much insight coming from you, your IBM experience, and thank you for sharing. Keep sharing. And I'm very fortunate to have like a live learning from you while other people have to wait for recordings. So I can just ask questions and you are keep answering. But thank you for so generous about sharing your knowledge. It has been great going, and I'm sure we have more sessions to come.
Yeah. So I'm happy to do that, and I'm mentoring about 15 people all the time. And it's really, if you get older, have some more time, you can give back your knowledge, and that's and
Yeah.
I'm happy to do that because I'm not creating any projects and programs anymore.
Exactly. Good. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great job. Thank you for doing that, to sharing the knowledge with the project manager, program manager community. So I'm happy to bring that knowledge together, but I need people like you to help me to build the knowledge pool. So thank you.